I have always said that if someone has a current diagnosis and they meet the PACT Act criteria and they were denied, to send me that decision letter, because to this day I have never, ever, ever seen a wrongful denial under the PACT Act. Now, I've seen some very lowball ratings, but never a wrongful denial. Well, I've had many, many veterans reach out to me. Most recently, a veteran reached out. They sent me their decision letter, their DD-214. They sent me a NAM, which is an award in the Navy and the Marine Corps, that they believe tie them to PACT Act locations. And this is something that I want to show you and explain why this veteran is wrong, okay? And they were rightfully denied under the PACT Act, at least. Now, I'm not doing this to shame this person, to shame this veteran at all. I'm using this as an example to educate, one, the veteran, and two, the veteran community at large. So first, here is the email, okay? That's the email there. You can see that they served in the Navy from 98 to 04. So they are a Gulf War veteran. And then you can see that they deployed for OIF and OEF. That is a key word there, deployed for those two operations in 2003. We'll get into that. Awarded a NAM for that deployment. We have that as well. Until the last year, I had zero contact with the VA. Filed my first claim after a lot of education. This is how you do it. Your channel, Veteran Info Tap, and a couple others. He filed for all of these things. And then at the bottom there, you can see sinusitis and rhinitis. And we're going to focus on the PACT Act side of the house. Now, here is a NAM. Okay. Now, this is probably going to be hard to read, but essentially, this veteran was a part of Fleet Air Keflavik, and I'm probably butchering that name. But Keflavik is located in Iceland, and it seems that this award that he was awarded is for supporting OEF and OIF operations. However, was not physically located in those areas, and I'm pretty sure this implies that he was located in Iceland. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do is actually share his DD-214. Now, obviously, it's redacted, okay? But here's his DD-214. Let me blow this up just a little bit here. So you can see that in number 12, record of service, under G, there's 0 sea service. So he is in the Navy, and we have to assume, hey, maybe he was on ship, in the waters. I'm going to show you which waters are a part of the PACT Act locations here soon too. But he has 0 years, 0 months, 0 days. So he was not on ship at all, which, trust me, that is a blessing, because ship life absolutely sucks. So we can't see the airspace above those locations, but we know he wasn't on ship. And then number 13, decorations, medals, badges, citations, and campaign ribbons. So we see the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, the Good Conduct Medal, which was spelled incorrectly here, 9mm pistol ribbon. I believe they used a Beretta. Flag Letter of Commendation, Meritorious Unit Commendation, National Defense Service Medal, and Overseas Service Ribbon. Now, to be clear, in the Navy and the Marine Corps, the Overseas Service Ribbon is not the Sea Service Ribbon. A Sea Service is like a deployment. An Overseas Service Ribbon is like being stationed in Iceland, being stationed in Japan. It's duty stations, not necessarily deployments. But on this duty station, according to his NAM that we saw, he supported OIF and OEF. Now, this is the most important document you're going to see here on this video. This is the VA's presumptive list. It has everything. So not just PACT Act, but it has the Gulf War MUCMIs and undiagnosed illnesses. We'll talk about that too. It has Vietnam era, just all the things, okay? So there's prisoner of war presumptives, Vietnam era presumptives. There's atomic veterans. And then down below, we see Gulf War and post 9/11. We are going to come back to MUCMIs because that gets a bit complicated. The meat and potatoes of this one's going to be PACT Act related. So just to be clear, these are not PACT Act presumptives in the same sense of like sinusitis or rhinitis. These are different. Same thing here. Those are undiagnosed illnesses. Okay. Going down, when you say PACT Act, this is what people are referring to. Okay. If you served on or after September 11th in, doesn't say in OEF or OIF. It says in Afghanistan, Djibouti, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Uzbekistan, or Yemen, or if you served in the Southwest Asia Theater of Operations, I'll show you what that is, or Somalia on or after August 2nd, 1990. So real quick, we're going to go to Southwest Asia. There's a note down here. This refers to Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi, the neutral zone between Iraq and Saudi, Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, Oman, Gulf of Aden, Gulf of Oman, the Persian Gulf, the Arabian Sea, the Red Sea, essentially Fifth Fleet, AOR, and the airspace above these locations. Now, when you say PACT Act, here are your cancers, okay? So if you have a diagnosis of these cancers and you served in these locations, not support OIF, OEF, in these locations, and you have a current diagnosis, bada boom, bada bing, you are service connected, then here are your diseases or illnesses for those, okay, going down. Now, the most common, obviously, sinusitis and rhinitis. You see asthma that was diagnosed after service. If it was before service, the basis of service connection just changes to aggravation versus presumptive, which aggravation sucks. Okay, there we go. All you need for PACT Act is to serve in those locations during that time criteria and have a current and chronic diagnosis. You have to be in those locations. From the evidence the veteran provided us, he was not. Now, I did send him an email, and I'm waiting for his response to let him know he was not in these locations. And if for some reason he has more evidence, I'll make an update video to this, but I don't think he does just based on our conversation so far. Now, back to these MUCMIs, because this gets a little complicated here. The best way to explain MUCMIs is exactly as it says, medically unexplained. Chronic multi-symptom illness, that's the MUCMI part, but medically unexplained. So chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, IBS. Let's say so medically unexplained means it doesn't have a cause, right? That's why you see things like the Gulf War illness. That's not a real thing. It doesn't exist, and that's why they named it the Gulf War illness, chronic fatigue syndrome, okay, fibromyalgia. All these things are medically unexplained. But let's say you have IBS and it stems from some neurological gut issue. Then your IBS has a cause. And so what you'll see for MUCMI is to be connected via presumption, which it's not. You'll see the VA will require the C&P examiner to do a medically unexplained opinion. Okay, hey, is this an undiagnosed illness? Is this a medically unexplained illness? And that C&P examiner will have to write their rationale, and that's what gets you service connected. It's the same thing for these undiagnosed illnesses here. My friend has headaches as a presumption criteria. Got the back pay, did everything, and so that was great. The reason he was able to do that was because his headaches were undiagnosed. There was no cause for his headaches. It was medically unexplained. They couldn't pin it back to anywhere. Okay. Anyways, that's it. The VA presumptive list is my personal favorite. Assure, the va.gov, has their website as well, but I like using the PDF document because it has everything in one spot. It does not have the most updated, the 3 conditions, like male breast cancer, I think was part of one. Doesn't have those, but it has everything else. Anyways, that's all I got. I hope this helps, and thank you very much.